Hi ladies, today I'm going to be showing you how I fill in my eyebrows. As you can see, my natural brows are not too fine, but I do like to fill them in to create a really full look. My favourite product is Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade, which I've been using for about 6 months now since I bought it in the States in March. I really love it because it creates a very matte finish. It's quite easy to apply, and you can also kind of apply it in different ways to create different looks. So you can really pack it on if you want a very full dark brow, or you can apply it quite lightly and brush it through to create a blended look. And if you've got the right brush, you can also create sort of a feathered look, especially through the middle, which I quite like to do. Now before I start, I do just want to quickly touch upon brushes because I think they're really important, especially with a product such as the Dip Brow Pomade. My favourite brush to use is this synthetic Manicare brand brush, which for those of you who are watching from New Zealand or Australia, I think Australia, you should be able to find Manicare in like farmers and pharmacies. The reason I like this brush is because it comes to a very fine point at the top, as you can see there. It's actually really good for eyeliner too, and it just means that you can get really nice sort of feathered brush strokes with your brush without it being too fat. Okay, so to start, I've got nothing on my brows. This is what the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade looks like. It's sort of like a gel liner. You potentially could try using a gel liner for such things, but this is specifically for brows. So I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush, if you can see that. Not too much to start with, but we are going to draw the sort of bottom part of the eyebrow first, and that can be a little bit of a thicker line and a darker line than say the top. It just sort of gives it some grounding. Okay, I'm going to start with this eyebrow because this eyebrow is my good one. So I'm going to start through the bottom, drawing a reasonably dark line. Bringing it right down through to the end of your brow, and I'm just going to extend it a little bit. Now this looks a little messy through there, but I can very easily clean that up later. Now I'm just going to brush through the rest of the brow and start filling it in. So I haven't applied any extra product to my brush. I am purely just sort of brushing through what I've already got on there, and I'm going to start drawing my top line and filling that in. I'm going to kind of create a bit more of an arch. And bring it down to meet the bottom part. Okay, so that's what it's sort of looking like at the moment. I've got the majority of the product on. Okay, so now what I like to do is use a eyebrow brush, or I think some people call them a spoolie. It's also, if you've got disposable mascara ones, it looks like this. And what I'm going to do is just brush through the whole eyebrow to just sort of even things out, blend the product, make sure it's sort of looking even, and also brush my eyebrow hairs upwards a little bit. And then I'm going to use the spoolie to sort of brush outwards of the brow. So I'm kind of extending my brush strokes into the sort of further into the center. And because there is a little bit of product on this brush, this creates a very blended effect and just starts the eyebrow off a little bit softer. Like that. Okay, now what I like to do is clean up all the edges before I go any further. Now this is, you can just use a concealer brush like this, and some foundation or some concealer. I just use my regular foundation. And you're just going to go along all the edges just to clean everything up and kind of fix any bits that might be looking like not quite right. So I'm going to start in the inner corner, bringing it round like that. For this part here, it's sort of just a little too rounded, so I'm just going to fix that up a little and come along the top. Now that I've done that, I just want to fill in that top area a little bit more. I can just see that that needs a little bit extra. Like that. And one final touch to the brow is to take just a little bit of product on your brush, and this is where the type of brush is very important, and I am just going to attempt to sort of brush on some very light strokes. And I'm just going to blend that out a little. Like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Now this brow doesn't come as far in as my right hand side, so I tend to really draw on a few extra bristles and a few extra hairs on this side, but I'm just going to start the same way as I did the other one, drawing the bottom line first. And filling in the rest. This eyebrow is also a little thinner through the top, so I really kind of overdraw that top part just to match it up with the other side. Okay, so as you can see, there's definitely it's a lot shorter. So to create the illusion of extra length through, or sort of it to come in further into the middle, I'm just going to lightly draw on sort of a line at the top and bottom. And sort of fill it in little light strokes. Again, this is, you know, I haven't applied any extra product since I first started doing this brow, so there's not too much left on my brush. fix that up in a minute. Take your spoolie. Okay, I'm going to clean up the edges again. Now the reason I do this before I start brushing on any extra strokes is just because I want those strokes to look kind of quite natural, and so if they're too cleaned up and perfect, then it's not going to look quite so good. So I sort of do this first and then I'll draw the strokes on, just so that they're a little more raw. Now to draw on some extra bristles. There we go, it's looking pretty good. They're pretty even. Remember, your eyebrows are meant to be sisters, not twins, so they don't have to be completely perfect, and you know what, no one's actually going to notice if they're not completely perfect or completely matching. One final touch, which I really love to do, and I think that really just sort of creates a real pin-uppy look, is to use a highlighter underneath your brow on your brow bone. My favourite is the Benefit Cosmetics Highbrow, which is just a pencil. So I just sort of draw it on right underneath the brow. I use this in my pin-up eye makeup tutorial too, I think. And then blend, I just grab a my concealer brush again. You can blend it round onto sort of the side of your cheekbone if you're doing a highlighter on that as well. So there you go, that's how I do my eyebrows. I probably spend more time on my eyebrows than any other part of my makeup, but I think it's really only in the last sort of 8 to 9 months that I've gotten, you know, really quite like much better at them. Whilst they are very full, I think I'm better at making them appear a little bit more natural rather than just like a block of black, you know, eyeshadow, which is what I used to do. So keep practicing. If you've got any questions, leave a comment and I'll try and help you out. And of course, follow my YouTube channel and my blog, missvictoryviolet.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye!